So you're thinking about becoming a driver. You've read all these things online, you've watched the videos, make great money, get paid to see the country, but have you thought it through? There are a lot of questions you need to ask yourself before deciding to become a driver. This job is not for everybody. How long can you be away from home, away from your husband or your wife and your kids? You're going to be expected to stay out for weeks at a time. The way it usually works with most of the companies out here, when you're a company driver, you get 1 day off for each week that you work. How well can you deal with traffic? And I'm talking about the rude drivers, the drivers that don't have a clue about sharing the road with a truck, don't know how much room you need to stop, the ones that are going to be cutting you off, the constant aggravation you're going to have to deal with all day, every day. How are you going to be with pushy dispatchers? Are you going to be the type of person that just does what they tell you to do and then you're going to get on YouTube and make videos about how horrible they are? Or are you going to stand up for yourself and say, no, I will not do that because it is not safe? You have to protect yourself out here. You are the only one who is going to do that. You will be, however, forced to take loads as a company driver you don't really want. Go into places you don't really want to go. That's just the way it is. You're going to have to stay on a trainer's truck for up to 6 weeks. And this means sharing a very small, cramped space with a stranger and teaming with this person. You probably heard a lot of things about make great pay, drive a truck. Well, the first year or two that you drive a truck, you're not going to be making that much money. So you need to be aware of that. Can you wait a couple of years before you start making decent money? Or do you need a better paying job right off the bat? Because you're not going to get out here your very first year off the trainer's truck making $60,000 to $80,000 as a company driver. I just don't know where you could possibly do that. Usually takes at least 2 years to get to a decent pay grade with a good company. How about being treated like a number? And yes, this happens in a lot of industries, but it's pretty common with a lot of the major, or large, I guess I should say, with the large companies and their customers. So you're going to have to deal with that also. And you have to remember, this is a very dangerous profession. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Also ask yourself, what is the longest I've ever driven in one day? Could I drive for 11 hours in one day before stopping to sleep for the night? The way it works as a CDL driver, you usually work a 14-hour day. And when you start your clock, you can drive 11 hours within those 14. After you've worked 14 hours, you're no longer allowed to drive. So the company's going to expect you to drive your 11 hours every day if you have them available. How well do you do by yourself? Are you a loner? Are you perfectly happy just listening to the radio all day long and watching the beautiful changing scenery outside your window? Or do you need to be surrounded by people all day? Because if you're the type of person that needs constant companionship and you can't bring your spouse with you for whatever reason, if you're going to be out here by yourself and you're the type of person that needs to be around other people, this is going to be very hard on you. If you're the other type of person like me, I'm an introvert. I love to read. I'd rather read all day, look at a book, than to go out and, hang out with a crowd of people. This is the perfect job for you. Nobody bothers you. You're sitting in your truck and listening to the radio and watching the scenery go by. Have you done your research as far as the division, I guess I'll call it division, that you've chosen to get into? What type of trailer you've decided to pull? Are you going to be pulling a tanker? Do you really know what's involved with pulling a tanker? I have a little bit of experience with pulling a bulk food grade tanker, and you pretty much need to be a plumber, among other things. A very patient person is one of them. What if you've decided to pull a reefer? Yes, that will keep you very busy. We always need food. Reefer's a great choice. But you need to know what it's like to pull a reefer. Do a little bit of research. It's going to be long hours at the loading dock, getting loaded and unloaded. You're going to have to deal with lumpers a lot of the time, which I've had some very bad experiences with. Sometimes you'll be required to load or unload your own freight, and that is not a bad thing, other than when it's frozen food. That's not very fun. What about if you've decided to do flatbed? Have you thought about what it's going to be like in the middle of winter with frozen straps on that load and a frozen tarp covered with ice and snow, or tarping in the wind, or 110 degrees in Arizona and you got a tarp a load in the middle of summer? And don't be afraid to ask questions. Read comments online, go to the truckers forums, the different websites. The truckers are out who've been doing it for a while, and they can answer your questions and give you some feedback, and give it some serious thought before deciding to become a truck driver. Now, with that being said, I love my job. I'm sure you've probably heard it in most of my videos. I love my job. It is not all doom and gloom like some people would have you believe, but I didn't want to leave out some of the negative with the good. I'm always preaching how good it is, and I didn't want to be unrealistic and mislead you in any way. So, if you do choose to come on board, I say good luck and welcome and have fun.